if you have good intent and you use that as your like guiding compass, your guiding, measurement, your guiding factor, I think that that is what's really going to allow you to go and try things out. Because like I know putting this stuff out, that because my intent is good and because I know exactly, or I'm I don't necessarily think that people who are still trying to figure out what their passion is are going to know exactly why or what they love. But like the reason why I know why I want this and why I love it is because I know that like it allows me to put people in the same position that I was, or be in a better position than I was when I was starting out. Definitely. And so if I can do that, man, that gives me a good feeling. Like as much as that helps them out, it helps me out too, because I feel like now I'm actually starting to give back for the appreciation that I have for my parents for putting me in such a good position,
Right, definitely.
So, those are my thoughts on that. I had to throw the camera back.
Oh,
because
dude, I feel that, yeah. When you got good content, you got to capture it.
I have a good partner right now, right? Because like, because I think that we're close and, I'm able to talk to you about stuff that I may not necessarily be able to talk to everybody about.
Yeah.
That opens up to me to actually say, like, this is actually what's going on. Like, I'm executing and people are seeing that, but they may not necessarily be seeing, like, the intent that I have and why it's there.
Yeah.
The first piece of content that I ever put out on LinkedIn was an article about, the greatest gift I ever received.
Yeah, I read that, yeah.
That was because that is 100% where all of my, like, that's my guiding compass right there, is that I was in such a good position because, like, my parents provided, and look, there are people who are, like, you may not have, you may only have one parent that, is really in your life, or you may have no parents in your life, but you have something maybe in your life that allowed you to get to the point where you are now.
Yeah.
And in my case, it just happens to be both my parents, because I wouldn't have life without them. And that's the reality, is that you just don't have life without your parents. So that in and of itself, I feel a huge appreciation and, almost a guilt. But the reality is that there's something out there, and because I have good intent based off of that, I'm comfortable with putting stuff out, where I think that historically, and by the way, the other side of this too is my parents are the first people to tell me, don't post on social media. Like how about that for like the whole, like, two completely opposite worlds. My parents are the reason why I post and I want to give back, and at the very same time, they're the people who told me don't post on social media way early on, and which I think stopped me from doing it for so long. And their intent was good. Their intent was, that stuff's going to be out there forever. Don't post something and the reality is they said don't post something stupid, but I think that it really, the way the tone came is don't post anything.
Yeah.
Because, they were worried you're going to ruin the rest of your career, because an employer is going to see that and they're going to say, hey, we can't hire this person. They're a loose cannon, or they're a risk. But the reality is that they're the reason why I want to post more, because it's the good intent of it.
Definitely.
But at the same time, they're the people who also said don't post, and so that's what kept me from doing it for so long. And I think that just talking that out, like, I know it in my head and I've articulated it in my head, but the funny thing is I don't articulate it verbally because I just live it, right? Like, I know it. So
yeah.
I don't feel like I have to articulate that, but that might help people who have their own, like, who know that, like, they really appreciate their parents, but they may not necessarily appreciate something that they do.
Right.
But my parents didn't have bad intent; they had good intent. They just didn't want me to screw up my life by posting something, So it's funny. It's like a really interesting paradox.
Yeah.
But I think that it's something that will help a lot of people, because your parents aren't always right. But knowing that they have good intent and appreciating them regardless for what they've done and what they've provided for you, that's what's important.
Definitely, absolutely.